George Edward Moore was born in 1873 and died in 1958. He was a student at Cambridge, and later he was a lecturer there in the Department of Moral Sciences from 1911 till 1925. After that, he became a professor of philosophy from 1925 to 1939, and with that, he traveled to different universities lecturing for different departments. The first paper he ever wrote that was influential was Principia Ethica, and in it he said that to define the concepts of good with other concepts would be a naturalistic fallacy. Some people thought that he had entrapped some of the most important concepts of ethics within that paper, but others feared that he placed ethics far beyond rational arguments. One of his concepts within Principia Ethica was that the right and good answer is always the one that increases the most happiness. Well, that makes things a lot easier, doesn't it? Kim, will you do the dishes? Nope. Well, it wasn't quite as simple as that, because, later on that day, Mom, can I borrow the car? Nope. Well, he tried to express that it wasn't quite as simple as what would be happiness right then, and you have to kind of think about it, but the ideas weren't quite as accepted as some of the other ideas of that time. So in his later writings, he decided to take a different path, and more of his later concepts were most things that we think we know, we actually do know. And because he came up with that concept, he's become known as the philosopher of common sense. Now, this idea that most things we think we know, we actually do know, was very new. No one had ever said that before. People had always been saying, we don't know as much as we think we know, we don't know as much as we'd like to know, and that shows how wise we are by being able to admit that we don't know that. But he came out and said, we actually do know most of what we think we know, and for these new and kind of out there ideas, he has become very famous for these ideas. Now, he was never a great prose stylist, and his ideas and views were never really accepted. However, they changed old ideas and presented new concepts of ethics in a different way. And for that, he'll always be known as a great philosopher.